Gross bookings are going to be the thing that everybody watches, and the take rates. Those are the two most important items to watch today. We'll see what they do.
We're up about 0.3%, set for three record closing highs here on Wall Street. But let's check in on what's happening in the bond market with 2 minutes left of trade. Rick.
Well, Wolf, we're starting to melt a bit. Treasury yields moving a bit lower throughout the session, maybe in front of tomorrow's big jobs report. Look at an intraday of two-year note yields. They're basically unchanged. But as you go to the long end, 30-year bonds, they're about 4 basis points lower as they continue to melt. Not necessarily a bad thing. If you are a foreign investor, pension fund, insurance company, that's where you're buying zeroed in on the longest maturity. Finally, the dollar index. What a week. Every day this week it closed higher. It's over a cent off its lows from coronavirus. And NASDAQ can make the same claim. Higher every day this week, Bertha.
Yeah, and on pace for a record close with the mega caps heading there today as well. Not on huge volume, but we are seeing people pile into the large caps. In terms of earnings, that's where you're seeing the biggest volume movers. Cognizant Technology and Regeneron both beating. They're helping move things higher on the NASDAQ 100, while Willis Towers Watson disappointed in terms of its guidance. And Cabot Micro, the chip maker, also beating and seeing an all-time high today as we continue to see some of those IPOs from last week. One Medical and Reynolds continue their move higher. Bob, it's just a really great market for IPO right now.
Yeah, IPO at a new high, the IPO ETF. We are at a new high on the S&P 500. Essentially, we've been sideways most of the day, up 10 to 12 points. Still enough for a record high. Not as energetic as the last few days. Lower volume, a little bit lower volatility, but that's still a record. Stock of the day, it's got to be Casper, obviously. Priced at 12, opened at $14.50. Casper's dropping here at the close, though, at $13.26. You'll get a lot of comments about whether this was a successful IPO or not. Up 10% from the initial price, but if you bought it at the open, obviously you're underwater at this point. But as Bertha said, it's been a very good 1 week period for the IPO market overall. There's the closing bell. S&P 500 is going to be up 12 points. Dow Jones Industrial up nearly 100.
If you're just joining us, welcome to the Closing Bell. I'm Wilfred Frost.
And I'm Sarah Eisen, along with Mike Santoli, CNBC Senior Markets Commentator.
Let's check in on the markets. A record all-time closing high for the three major averages. S&P and NASDAQ got there yesterday. The Dow joining the trio today, up 0.3%, as you can see. So relatively small gains, but held on to them throughout most of the session. S&P also up by the same amount, 0.3%. NASDAQ led the charge today, up 0.7%. And indeed, tech and communication services were the best performing sectors on the S&P 500.
Energy and materials continue their decline. We are just minutes away from earnings reports from Uber, Pinterest, Wynn, and Activision Blizzard. We'll talk to the CEO of Activision in a CNBC exclusive just moments after those numbers cross.
Joining us to talk about the